What's going on, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to another episode of Caffeinate. Today, for December the 5th of 2018, my name is Samuel Adams, and welcome to today's show. I hope you are doing very well, and if this is your first time joining me on this show, this is a daily gaming news podcast where I let you know the hottest gaming news from around the industry. And let me tell you guys, today, we've got some pretty hot news, if I do say so myself. Now, I will say, I have changed the scenes for today's episode. You might notice if you are a regular viewer. On top of that, you might not notice at all. We'll see what happens. However, a lot to talk about on today's show. First off, a brand new Far Cry announcement, seemingly of a post-apocalyptic nature, is going to be coming at tomorrow's Game Awards 2018. On top of that, Epic has officially stopped the work on Unreal Tournament's sequel because of, you guessed it, Fortnite's success. On top of that, speaking of Fortnite, it is getting a major new sandbox mode separate from the BR mode, which we all know and some would say they love. However, Starbreeze's HQ, a follow-up story from yesterday, has been raided by the police. That was a sharp turn of events, now wasn't it? On top of that, if you're a fan of Quantic Dream, there is now a collection out on the PS4. Soulja Boy has a brand new console coming out. Yeah, I read that correctly. On top of that, PUBG celebrates the holidays with some festive gifts for you. Red Dead Online looks to be getting just better with time. Kind of like a fine wine, because it looks like your beta progress will not actually reset whenever the beta period does end up concluding. And finally, Capcom is hinting at a brand new title that will make the fans think, wow, they're making that? So, a lot to talk about on today's show. And I hope you guys do enjoy what you find. But again, this is hosted right here on twitch.tv/SamuelAdamsLive. You guessed it, live every weeknight at 7 p.m. Eastern Time if you did want to join me live. Or the show is always going to be available via youtube.com/SamuelAdamsMedia or over on anchor.fm/SamuelAdams with a couple of other little perks along the way, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, tons of other locations if you did want to get that. But of course, Anchor is a fantastic way to get the podcast, one of my favorite ways to listen to podcasts. However, without further ado, no more dillying nor dallying. Let's go ahead and dive into the news of the day. First off, Ubisoft teases a post-apocalyptic Far Cry seemingly set after the events of Far Cry 5. Ubisoft has released a teaser video for its next entry in the Far Cry series. We'll talk about that in a moment. The next Far Cry game is set in a post-apocalyptic future set after the events of Far Cry 5, going by the teaser shown. This short clip was released today by Ubisoft with a full reveal set for the Game Awards 2018 tomorrow night. And so, just to kind of give you guys a taste of what you are going to be expecting. Oh, that's really loud with a Mortal Engines teaser trailer that we have, because ads, hey man, you know, it is what it is. So, to describe it briefly before we dive into what it actually is, essentially it looks to be the Hope County, Montana setting that we all know and love from Far Cry 5, but it looks like a nuke goes off in the middle of this beautiful, I guess, you know, Midwestern wasteland of sorts, and you see wheat burning, you see leaves catching on fire and just disintegrating essentially, and then just giant explosions, pretty much, you know, destruction like you would find from a nuke. However, you see this saw blade get lodged into a tree, and as time goes on, more of the elements begin to pound it, the tree begins to fall apart, and suddenly you have a saw blade laying there, and it seems like things are being rebuilt to the way they were before. And it looks like we do have a post-apocalyptic Fallout, or excuse me, Far Cry. Hey, you know, sometimes you get confused by these, coming our way at some point, and we'll learn more about this tomorrow. Now, of course, Far Cry 5 released earlier this year in March, and it was the first in the series to take place in America. It focused on a fictional community in Montana ruled by a religious cult called the Project at Eden's Gate. The teaser above shows what appears to be the idyllic landscape which permeated the latest entry before a mushroom cloud appears off in the distance. If the clip is anything to go by, things seem to start getting back to normal eventually, but as with all things post-nuclear war, things always do seem to go to hell. Now, I have my own opinion on this one, okay? So, whenever you're looking at this trailer, obviously it is still Hope County, Montana, or at least something of that kind of setting. I would be shocked if this was actually Far Cry 6. I think it's very soon, in comparison to when Far Cry 5 came out, to go ahead and even start talking about Far Cry 6. I believe what this very well may be is kind of the blood dragon of sorts of Far Cry 5. And again, that's just my speculation. We'll know much more in less than 24 hours, more than likely. I am sure some leak will come out, or if not, in just a couple of hours, essentially. However, I just highly doubt this is going to be Far Cry 6, but something to go off of. It's something that looks very interesting, and I, for one, love post-apocalyptic settings. I think it's a fantastic setting for a game overall because you can do so much with it. It is getting to be a bit overdone, I will be the first to admit that. You're seeing a lot of games take this post-apocalyptic vibe, but for Far Cry, the zaniness of it, the absolute insanity that you'll find with many of the games that you find set in post-apocalyptic games goes well with that Far Cry kind of vibe. I would love to see this kind of thing actually come to fruition. So again, tons of announcements coming over the weekend between the Game Awards 2018 and the Kinda Funny Games Showcase. And I'll let you guys know exactly what's going on as soon as we know more about it, because right now, it's a very exciting time if you are a Far Cry fan, and I cannot wait to see what this does entail. And it looks like it could entail a bow that shoots saw blades. Oh yes. Thank you, guys at Ubisoft. And we'll talk more about Ubisoft here in just a moment. But moving on to the second story of the day, Epic stops work on Unreal Tournament sequel because of, you guessed it, Fortnite. It was practically destined to play a second fiddle. Epic Games has lately been quiet about its long-in-the-making Unreal Tournament sequel, and now it looks like the project is effectively on ice. In the wake of a September decision to move UT developers to Fortnite, Epic chief Tim Sweeney told Variety that the revived multiplayer shooter isn't being actively developed. It's still in the store if you want it, but you shouldn't expect new modes or extra polish anytime soon. The company's last provided an official update in summer of 2017. It's not at all surprising that Epic would put UT aside in favor of shifting resources to Fortnite. The BR title is the hottest game on the planet, and the company is pulling out all the stops to keep that momentum going. It's investing in esports, expanding platform support, and otherwise doing what it can to be sure that you're interested in playing. Unreal Tournament may evoke fond memories of early online multiplayer shooters. Remember the debate over Quake 3 Arena versus the original UT? I don't, because I wasn't even around then, but it has lived in Fortnite's shadow for a while, and no amount of development is likely going to change that. It's very unfortunate, but it very much so is true that Unreal Tournament was destined to fail because of Fortnite. And that's something that is very telling of the way that Epic is moving right now, because Unreal Tournament is one of those online multiplayer foundations that kind of formed the, at least, FPS genre as we know it, especially the multiplayer FPS genre as we know it. And so to see it not get the love it deserves and the attention it deserves is something that's a little bit disappointing, but I totally understand where they're coming from with this, because compared to the money you would make from Unreal Tournament, Fortnite dwarfs that. Just time and time again, Fortnite is going to always outdo what Unreal Tournament is able to do, and it's going to be able to continue that momentum for a much longer period of time as compared to something like an Unreal Tournament remake or sequel. So it's not shocking, but it is something that I think we saw coming and we didn't want to believe. At least I didn't want to believe it, because you like to assume that Epic has enough resources all around to continue the development of every project they have on the slate. But quite frankly, why would you waste your time whenever more money can be made putting more resources into Fortnite? So again, a lot to analyze here, but overall, the end of an era, really, if you do think about it in that kind of way, because Epic Games, whether you realize it or not, has had a hand in forming the gaming industry as we know it, and so to see them begin to focus more on Fortnite and these kind of sensationalized experiences that you get because of the Battle Royale trend that we've seen is something that is, again, expected, but not something I really wanted to see. So for fans of Unreal Tournament, I do apologize, but it looks like you are getting to take a seat and play Fortnite. Speaking of Fortnite, it's getting a massive update with a major new sandbox mode separate from the BR mode that again has grown to incredible heights of popularity. It launches tomorrow if you buy a Season 7 Battle Pass. And as an update at 3 p.m. says, Fortnite's creative mode has now been officially confirmed by Epic with the news that Season 7 Battle Pass owners will get a week's early access starting alongside the new season tomorrow, the 6th of December. Everyone else will gain access to creative mode in a week's time on the 13th of December, just in time, you guessed it, for the kids to get out for the Christmas break, holiday break, whatever you might want to call it, winter recess, perhaps. They'll be playing it a lot. Original story. Fortnite is getting a third game mode in the very near future called Creative, which will let you build your own levels and minigames away from all of the Battle Royale shooting. Creative mode will live as a third option on Fortnite's main menu alongside Save the World, PvE, and Battle Royale, PvP. It is a vastly expanded version of Battle Royale's existing playground mode, one which encourages players to come up with their own sandbox world. It looks like this announcement was due at the Game Awards, set for late on Thursday night, actually 1:30 a.m. Friday morning UK time, but it was all leaked in granular detail overnight by YouTuber Lachlan, who was invited to play it for several days ahead of time and doesn't know how to stick to an embargo. Good job, son. You did well. The original 15-minute video is now offline, although it exists via mirrors and on sites such as Fortnite Intel, which have archived galleries of screenshots from it. Oh, this young YouTube child. You don't break embargoes, son. You don't break embargoes. But for those that don't want to sit through all of that madness, imagine Fortnite creative mode like Minecraft creative mode. It's a version of the game that you can fly around and place elements within without having to collect all of the resources first. There you go. Entire pre-made scenery elements, props, and assault courses can be plopped down onto the map, and you can also place chests or llamas and set up your own minigames using various interactive elements, and you can save your world on a server to revisit later with friends or alone. So again, more can be said about this, but essentially, as the article did say, it's like Minecraft's creative mode, and this is fantastic because whether you like to admit it or not, Tom, Fortnite's for kids. I'm sorry, it is. It's for the ages of between, I would say, 8 and 12 to 13. That's whenever you're going to be getting your bread and butter. That's who the game is made for. Now, tons of adults do play it, and that's perfectly fine. I have nothing against that, but it is still a game made for kids, and creative mode is going to be fantastic. And also, for those that are content creators, this is going to be absolutely amazing for you because, people like custom games, and people like to watch custom games, and so whenever you can sit down and create your own Fortnite world out of what has been given you, that is an absolutely incredible asset, especially for those that have creative minds. So if you did want to check out the creative mode that is going to be coming to Fortnite, again, if you have that Season 7 Battle Pass, which begins tomorrow, you can jump in 1 week early. Otherwise, you'll have to wait until December the 13th, but as of, again, tomorrow, December the 6th, you've got the opportunity to get in on the creative mode early, and on top of that, whatever Season 7 does entail, I would assume we're going to be getting some kind of cinematic starting tomorrow morning. However, we'll have to see what happens. And again, to those that are, the creators, the influencers, if you will, for those that are the YouTubers, the Twitch streamers, if you have an embargo on a thing, keep that embargo. You give everybody a bad name. You got to keep it flowing, man. You got to keep it flowing. Embargoes matter. Embargoes matter. Now, there was an embargo on this game, Overkill's The Walking Dead. However, it didn't really matter because no one cared, clearly, because as we talked about yesterday, Starbreeze's HQ reported they are going to have a lot of cutbacks if they plan to survive, which of course is the publisher for Overkill's The Walking Dead. Now, Starbreeze HQ has been raided by Swedish authorities and one has been arrested. What? Update. Starbreeze's offices have been raided by police, leading to at least one arrest. According to SVD, the company was raided on suspicion of insider crimes, suggesting the arrest was made due to insider trading. As well as the arrest, equipment has been taken, including computers and documents. Starbreeze offered the following statement to GamesIndustry.biz. This morning, officials from the Swedish Economic Crime Authority raided the offices of Starbreeze in Stockholm. One person was arrested and the items were seized. The raid is part of an ongoing investigation involving suspected insider trading. Starbreeze also says the company itself is not under any suspicion and it is cooperating with the authorities. It also confirmed that the raid was due to suspicion of insider charges. And again, this is an update to a story we saw yesterday where Starbreeze, quite frankly, is just not doing so well. There's a lot going on behind the scenes with Overkill's The Walking Dead where, quite frankly, it's just underperforming, and to no surprise, it really is just not that good of a game. And so whenever you have that kind of negative publicity combined with this criminal activity from those that are working, I don't even know what to say to this. So overall, if you're a fan of Starbreeze or if you are an employee of Starbreeze, I do apologize for the bad press you've been getting, and hopefully everybody can rebound from this. But as for right now, a lot of bad moves being made over there, both in the choice of publishing Overkill's The Walking Dead, and on top of that, apparently doing some kind of criminal money works. I don't know. I'm not a criminal. I don't understand these things. However, interesting story nonetheless. So we'll see how this one shakes out. But right now, a lot of unsteady water over there from the guys at Starbreeze. Now, if you are a fan of Quantic Dream, a company that I don't believe has been involved in any kind of criminal activity, then good news. You've got a collection coming your way right now on the PS4. Interactive movies unite for a low price for the holiday season. If you get a kick out of the cinematic adventures of David Cage's studio Quantic Dream, then a compilation of their latest 3 releases has been made available to purchase today in both physical and digital format. The Quantic Dream Collection is comprised of 3 titles: 2010 Murder Mystery Heavy Rain, 2013's Psychic Thriller Beyond Two Souls, and from this year, What If Robots had human feelings, sci-fi title Detroit Become Human. Missing from the collection is PS2/Xbox release Fahrenheit or The Indigo Prophecy. The set cost around $40, which isn't too bad considering Detroit is only about 6 months old. So if you fancy an adventure through some well-worn genre conventions and awkwardly animated digital sex scenes, then this compilation should satisfy those needs. So if you are going to pick this up, you very well can. $40 will get you, again, 3 games, one of which I believe was included as a PlayStation Plus game. I believe it was Beyond Two Souls, if I remember correctly, and I also think the Heavy Rain remake was also included in there. But if you are brand new to PlayStation Plus, or perhaps if you've never had the service and you do want to check out what Quantic Dream does have available, then this is a good way to go about doing that. Also, Link Blood in the chat with the 5 biddies. Best news channel. I appreciate that, my good friend. Welcome to the show. But if you did want to take your bits and combine them and make them dollars, and you did want to buy Quantic Dream's collection, it's out right now on the PS4. $40 will get you 3 pretty solid games, and I've heard fantastic things about Detroit Become Human. In fact, I believe it was one man's game of the year, and that is Colin Moriarty the last time I checked, a man that I look up to in terms of gaming culture, one that's been very controversial over the course of 2018 and 2017, but still, I digress. For it to be a game of the year for anyone definitely catches my attention. So for $40, you get 2 extra games on top of somebody's game of the year, a game that is actually pretty solid. The other 2, I have no idea. Maybe they're bad. Who knows? Jason. It's a Heavy Rain reference. But if you did want to play this, it looks like you might be able to play it on Soulja Boy's console. Just kidding. It's a piece of hot garbage. But Soulja Boy is selling a console that's basically an overpriced emulator. Soulja Boy is jocking on them haters of his new Soulja game console and handheld. That's right, ladies and gents, it's called the Soulja game. There's a picture of Soulja Boy playing the Xbox One via apparently something at E3, but apparently that's not a Soulja game. We've watched Soulja Boy crank that, Superman that, and roll over the years, but now we are watching the 28-year-old rapper, aka DeAndre Cortez Way, set his sights on the games industry. Or at least that's what he wants us to think. Soulja Boy has launched what he calls the Soulja game line, including both a console and an emulator. Thing is, these are actually unbranded, poorly made emulators that Soulja Boy is reselling as his own. Soulja Boy's personal storefront, Soulja Watch, now has both versions of the Soulja game hardware on sale, and their listings tip their hat at how cheap these are. The handheld is set to play Switch, 3DS, Vita, Neo Geo, GBC, Game Boy, GBA games with 3,000 built in. What? There is no list available. However, heck, there's very little information about the device at all. The same is true for the console, which our old boy claims has access to Soulja game, PlayStation, Neo Geo, PC, Sega, GBA, and NES games. That's not so impressive for enticing a box that otherwise resembles a backwater Xbox One. It also boasts a smaller library of just 800 built-in games, although it comes with a controller based on the DualShock design. Both models are developed by Ann Bernick, according to the Soulja Watch site. Ann Bernick sells its products almost exclusively through AliExpress, a Chinese online retailer that sells internationally. In fact, both versions of the Soulja game are available to purchase on AliExpress right now, albeit under different names. The console appears to actually be Ann Bernick's retro mini video game console, with the handheld is identical to the 2018 portable video handheld game console. And those, yes, are actually the real names of these consoles. So there's a picture of it, and there it is in all of its glory. If you did want a Soulja game, otherwise known as, let's repeat that, the retro mini video game console, or if you did want to get the handheld version, the 2018 portable video handheld game console. As far as we can tell, Soulja Boy is selling these products on his site just with his name attached. He's also selling them at a markup. Both the console and the handheld cost $199, although they are on sale for $149 and $99 respectively. Meanwhile, AliExpress has the direct from Ann Bernick versions for $105 and $72. And of course, they have contacted Soulja Boy's press team for further info about the Soulja game products, and they have not yet replied. But overall, it looks like an Xbox One S. I don't think it's an Xbox One X, and of course it doesn't have the power of that. But overall, strange moves from Soulja Boy. He's getting ready to crank that. That was a really poor dab. Effort in getting an attorney, because it looks like he's copying a lot of the designs, and he's putting his name in a very dangerous place when it comes to video game consoles, because when you have these games that take the inspiration from the Xbox One S, and as the article did say, a controller that looks like the DualShock, you're really treading in dangerous territory. You're getting ready to get a big old lawsuit for Christmas, ya boy. Okay, so I wouldn't recommend buying these if you did want one cheaper than an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4. So, I mean, if you're desperate for a new gaming console, who knows what could happen. So we'll see what happens with this, but apparently it can play a lot of different games, and more than likely, it's very, very illegal. I'm just saying. But also, to Link Blood, I appreciate the additional bits. Thank you very much. And for those watching the podcast version of the show on YouTube or listening via Anchor.fm, if you did want to watch live and join us and rain those bits down or subscribe to the channel, you can always watch on twitch.tv/SamuelAdams Live. Got to slide in that mid-show promotion, you know what I'm saying? Got to do it. Also, to Cool Dude Logan, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show. But moving on, if you're a fan of PUBG, we've got some news for you as well. PUBG celebrates the holidays with festive gifts. PC players can log on to PUBG during December's seasonal event to get kitted out like Rudolph. That's right, like Rudolph. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds PC players can nab themselves the festive beanie. Festive. It's the festive beanie for the Christmas season. The festive beanie with pom-pom along with a red nose by logging onto the game during the seasonal event this month. You'll be given the items to wear for the rest of December, but if you'd like to carry them over and give them a permanent home in your inventory, you certainly can. Place in the top 10 of any map or non-custom game mode 10 times during the event, and you'll get permanent versions to wear around all year, reads the update. You can find another holiday-themed item in the store, including Santa's beard for 10,000 BP, but they'll only be available for a limited time, so treat yourself to an early Christmas present while you can. The map will be getting a dusting of snow to set the mood for the holiday event, which is live now and runs up until December the 26th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and you can pick up the 30-day versions of the beanie and the red nose by accessing the Player Care Package system, which you'll be able to find by clicking on the Care Package icon at the top right of the lobby if you did want some of that. And again, here is a picture of what you can expect to look like if you do go ahead and redeem that stuff. And yes, if you look closely, you do look like Brian Altano from IGN. That is right, @Agent Bizzle is now in PUBG. I digress. Pretty cool little event, I suppose. You know, I like it whenever there is some kind of a seasonal event. I like it whenever the games do kind of, sprinkle in a little bit of that holiday flair. So if you did want to jump back onto PUBG on the PC, you can get a couple of limited time things. And if you manage to get top 10 in 10 games throughout the entire event, which again ends on December the 26th and is going on right now, you could get this all year round if you wanted to look like this all year round. I don't know about that one, Chief. I don't know about that one. Now, Linkblood says, I refunded PUBG. I mean, I understand why. They're getting better with the game. It's beginning to improve, and I know there have been a lot of improvements and updates over the past couple of months. And, of course, they are doing this entire Fix PUBG campaign, which I hear is going fairly well. I personally have been playing Ring of Elysium, and I'm pretty happy with that, but I will be returning to PUBG whenever the winter/snow map does launch in just a couple of weeks, because it is expected during the winter of 2018. I wouldn't be shocked to see it pushed into 2019, but still something to consider if you are looking for something to play. Now, if you're still playing Red Dead, you might be playing Red Dead Online, and you might be getting pretty far into that beta. Guess what? It doesn't matter, because the beta looks to be continuing over into the full game. That's right, your progress will continue. Worried about losing your progress when Red Dead Online comes out of beta? Rockstar currently has no plans to wipe your character. Though Rockstar said at launch that a progress wipe could be in the cards, it's not something the dev is considering at present, and Rockstar revealed this news in a tweet. December the 4th, 2018 update. We appreciate all of the continued feedback we are receiving on the Red Dead Online beta. For players concerned about the potential for progress and stats resets, we currently do not have any plans to reset them as part of the beta's rollout. We are currently still working on game stability and economy balancing for an update that we hope to release later on this week, but please stay tuned for more news to come. Earlier this week, Rockstar revealed plans to shake up Red Dead Online's economy, which should hopefully land in an update later on this week. And you should be seeing something pretty dang soon. But Red Dead Online is a worldwide sensation. People are really enjoying it. Not quite to the level that GTA 5 Online did kind of appeal to people, but still a pretty solid game experience overall. Much more solid than I expected. I've seen a couple of, issues when it comes to the technical side of things, but overall, considering the vast majority of people have not had any kind of complaints, that's pretty good, especially in a world with Fallout 76 launching near you. Makes you feel good about your decisions. So, we'll see what happens with that one, but overall, I definitely want to see what Red Dead Online has to offer. I actually have not played it yet, so hopefully I'll be able to dive in and give it another shot and maybe get some time in on that stuff. Also in the chat, Domino, what's going on? Welcome to the show. And Linkblood goes back to the BR and says, my addiction to fighting has come in full force, and Battle Royale games kind of been boring for me, except for Ring of Elysium. I'm just saying, not that this is a sponsored Ring of Elysium stream. I'm just saying, Ring of Elysium is a fantastic game, and you guys should play it if you have not already. However, if you did want to continue playing Red Dead Online, you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry. Your beta progress ain't going nowhere. Yeehaw. So, moving on to the final story of the day, Capcom producer hints at a brand new title that will make fans think, wow, they're making that? In a recent interview with Japanese gaming magazine Famitsu, Capcom senior producer Jun Takeuchi nailed it, has hinted at a new upcoming title that will surprise fans. In the interview, he talks about the updated Capcom RE engine and the improvements that it has brought to the table, and Capcom's intention to increase the size of the staff to be able to handle 4 AAA titles at once. While this is interesting, the most interesting part of the interview might well be that the team is working on a brand new title that will surprise people. Quote, if we keep gradually increasing the size of our staff, I'm thinking that at some point maybe we might be able to handle 4 AAA titles at once, he told Famitsu, as translated by Tahui. Also, in addition to that, we are currently working on a title that will make our fans think, wow, they're making that. We've included the rest of the translated interview down below. But really, there is nothing that is definitive as compared to what, you would expect. So, Capcom is currently hard at work on Devil May Cry 5 and the Resident Evil 2 remake, which are both scheduled for an early release in 2019. But from the looks of it, Capcom is working on yet another title on top of that, and we can't wait to learn more about the surprising new project. The authors over there at WCCF Tech say, but also that goes for me as well. I will say, I'm very excited to see what they're doing. For those that don't know, Capcom's been great, okay? When it comes down to it, with the Resident Evil 7 Biohazard kind of breathing new life into the company, you've been seeing a lot of good moves. Now, we have been seeing a couple of cutbacks. Of course, the Dead Rising franchise is all but dead, essentially, at the moment, kind of put on ice for a little while. No pun intended, because, dead bodies. But overall, they're doing really well with Resident Evil specifically, and the Resident Evil 2 remake looks so good. Like, I literally, it looks so dang good. If you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it. Look up some gameplay. It is some of the most solid remake work I have ever seen in my life. Seriously, if you haven't seen it, you gotta look at it. But overall, I'm excited for the future of Capcom, and I cannot wait to see what they do say whenever there is some kind of official announcement made. I wouldn't expect it as soon as the Game Awards. It wouldn't shock me, but I wouldn't expect it. So we'll see what happens. I'm guessing you might be seeing more about this next project at next year's E3 or thereabouts. And again, I will keep you guys updated as soon as I can about the news that does come out, because, that's what I do. It's kind of like my thing. I'm pretty good at it, if I do say so myself. However, if you did want to jump off here, the show is now drawing to a close. I see Domino has a Siege update yesterday. There you go. Do dive into that. But if you guys did enjoy today's show, be sure to drop me a like down below if you are watching on YouTube. If you are listening on podcast services around the world, thank you so much. And I do hope that if this is your first time listening to the show, then by all means click that subscribe button, follow button, whatever button you might have on your screen, and come back tomorrow for a brand new episode of Caffeinate, because I do enjoy keeping you guys up to date on everything that does go on. However, overall, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow, and the Game Awards do come on. Let me know in the comment section down below or in the chat, where I'll be hanging out briefly after the show, what you do expect to see tomorrow. However, I'll talk to you then. Peace.